June 7th, 2024. The notice of this meeting, the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board and the Upper Township website, emailed to the Lansing Press, the Oceansea Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made part of the minutes of this meeting. Would you please rise for the flag? Some ambulance clears from somewhere. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Present.
Mrs. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Neppen?
Here.
Mr. Pankos is absent. Mayor Newman?
Here. Your pleasure on the minutes.
Move that we approve the regular and closed session minutes for May 28th, 2024.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Neppen?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Kim.
So a couple things. First, our Upper Township 4th of July celebration planning is well underway. You'll have the final planning meeting this week just to hammer out all the parking stuff. Very things to do. So it'll be right on what we've done the last few years. Gates will open at 4. We'll have food vendors, craft vendors. There's still space for a few more. If anyone is interested, they can reach out to our recreation leader at recreation department at uppertownship.com or 609-628-2011, extension 248. A couple other things here. We had a couple of complaints about the condition of the beach and these recently around the boat ramp. I've had some extensive conversations with our deputy superintendent of public works about the feasibility of beach rakes and such there. And it really doesn't seem like that's a feasible possibility to be able to keep that beach clean. And don't break the beach and trash there either. So we're looking at the possibility of maybe making that part of the responsibilities of the boat ramp attendants to at least get it cleaned up a couple times a week. So more to come on that. We also had a complaint about the placement of the porta potty at Putnam Ave. I want to thank Mr. Marzo for going down there personally and investigating it and having it moved to a more agreeable space for the neighboring property.
And the issue with that, Deputy Mayor, is that it is a ADA porta potty, and that ADA porta potty is tied into our beach plan.
Right.
So it can't, we just can't make it disappear. We can't remove it. If we could, we would have. But that is a handicap ramp, and so there's an ADA there. And so the placement of it is now just being oscillated, and the Public Works had come up with a solution. I think that is helpful to the neighbors and the culvert. So it became more complicated because you can't just move it.
Right.
Yeah, well, Gary and I actually met the other day, and it was, I think it met with the neighbor who had a problem with it, and I think a very good solution has been resolved.
Wonderful. I know that several people I have read about the vandalism that we had in the field yesterday. It sounds like we want to thank the Tuckerville Fire Department for their prompt response. We're still assessing the damage to the field and the equipment that was there, and the state police are investigating it.
That's correct.
More to come on that as well. And that is all I have this evening.
Vic.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out. As always, Animal Control report from May was 41 issues, everything from injured blue jays, injured turtles, baby ducks, raccoons. This report is always fun and entertaining to look through. So they continue to do a great job, and the courts are quiet, and everything else is great. So that's all I have tonight.
Curtis.
Thank you. Beaches are all quiet. We have not had any major issues, and we did receive our new boat. It was donated by Brian and Carol McElhaney, and it was named Rita McElhaney. They actually christened it and had it June 1st. It was a very intimate affair by the family. Her mother passed away during COVID, and they did not have a proper send-off for her mother, so they did all that. And on
They just send her off.
No. But it was close to the family. I had a very intimate family affair, and it was very nice, so it was all well done. And it was a very nice affair, to remember in mind. They had family from all over the country come in.
Oh, if I may add one more thing to my report, there was a beacon update. Gary, maybe you could speak more on that. That came into my email late this afternoon. I know that was something we talked about last week. It looks like they made some progress over there.
Yeah, so I submitted, I gave it to the clerk, she'll disseminate it on SharePoint, which no one will look at, and we'll tell you about it.
It's on there for a closed session.
But yes.
You good, Chris?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, a couple things. We want to, Kim referred to the fires, and obviously this sometimes occurs. It's occurred at Caldwell. Obviously, we keep on top of that. And it is being handled as a state police matter. We also want to give a shout out to the Comedian Mark Pankos in his job as he's not here, but his job as a lieutenant in the New York City Police Department. We had a missing person the other day on Tyler Road, and as working with the state police, I was the incident commander and requested that, asked the state police if we could bring a drone in to look for this particular person, and they obviously said yes. The drone came in from the New York City Police Department, which has an active drone unit, one of the first in the area that I know of. And it was put together by Mark Pankos, and this drone found the individual within 3 minutes of location, where it would have been a long, drawn-out affair searching for the individual. So it really ended up working out the best it possibly could, saved a lot of time, trouble, saved this guy's life, in my opinion. So that's a shout out to the Ocean City Police Department, and obviously I've already submitted a letter as the fire chief, more to their chief, thanking him for that. Really, it was absolutely amazing what this thing could do.
Is that something that maybe, not that, should we look at our rescue squad?
Yes, it is a program. Yeah, like you said, it is a program, and it's mostly law enforcement. There's a lot of law enforcement things out there, and if you go up there and just start flying a drone for the purposes of what we want to do, it's just easier for us to call. Because we might call, and then we might have, we can't take evidence. They can. It is possible.
Is there other agencies that have that? The county prosecutor's office? I'm just
I'm
curious.
pretty sure that the county Ruskin has one, which is county regional. It's a fire EMS-based rescue team that comes for structural classes. They handle hazard drones. They have drones, and I'm sure the Forest Fire Service has a drone as well. But this what amazed me more than anything was it takes a little bit to put this program together. It's just not. It's just not. You go to train a bunch of people.
I think the state police has it.
Yeah, you do. It's 2 hours away.
Yeah, right, but it's not close.
Yeah, that's the catch on with that, everything with that is a little bit.
We already have employees in the city, so.
Yes.
Dispatches,
So there.
pretty slick.
Yeah. And I can see where that would be involved with a water rescue, anything.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, yep. They've already done a couple in Ocean City, I know that, and this was the same thing here, so.
A party there in the paper over the weekend.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that
The
too.
technology on this as well. The Millville Police Department has access to one. They did a demo at our school one day, and they put the drone up in the air, and they zeroed in on the guy's license plate that was at a wall 3 miles away. You could see it here, and then it's pretty wild.
We're gonna get away with nothing. We also have, coming up, the end of this month is the annual Kids Camp, which is going to be run by Upper Township EMS. That is run the end of June. I think it's the last week of June, and it's absolutely, is that what it is, Barbara? I think it's-
It usually is in the graduation,
Yeah.
it's usually
Yes, that's right, that's exactly correct. So it might be
It might overlap.
Yeah, it might be overlapping. But in any event, it is been an extremely successful program. You can contact Upper Township Division of the EMS, or I think it's on our website as well, the Kids Camp application. I don't know if the applications are closed yet, but it usually fills up pretty quickly. And it's just been a great program over the past 4 or 5 years. I also spent some time in Strathmere this weekend, as some other people did, and I ran into our township administrator as well as a lot of our parking people, and they were having a little confab there, and I stopped to talk to them, and unbelievable job that they're doing over there. And it really is. It is, you know, it is a parking issue. It's always going to be an issue there. There's no way to create parking spaces out of thin air. There's just so many people and so many spaces, and there's only so much you can do. It's the same way down to Beezus Point Park. Beezus Point Park has parking spaces there. If we added 50 parking spaces, there still wouldn't be enough. So for what people want to do down there. So it is just, it's I guess a good thing or a bad thing that we have, you know, that this is going on. But we could point out a couple things. First, one of our parking attendants, Linwood Chatton, had a lockout with a boat ramp trailer. This is over and above. This is a Strathmere one. Our own Mike Jones jumped a stranded family. You know, this is just some of the things that these guys do on a regular basis. Brian Keane was out there, I think jumped off a couple of families as well. It occurred. Josh Tozer, one of our parking guys as well, was down at Beezus Point working with Larry Cole with regard to getting some situations that Gary alluded to before with regard to not parking, but the onrush of several jet skis that showed up. And that's been a problem, not a problem, but it's been an issue down there for years. It's just the sheer number of jet skis. There's only so much space, and we can't create more. So, you know, and it's, hopefully everybody will understand and do the best you can and get away. The beach at Beezus Point is extremely popular. People would think that there's, I mean, that thing's full almost every weekend. It's a place to go. So that's all I have for now, and we'll turn it over to the...
Well, let me throw in for Mark and another prompt to the public work guy. So I happen to be filling up the OEM car at the end of the day, and there was 30 some odd very sweaty, very tired men leaving very quickly from the yard. So they do a fantastic job. They've been doing the trash cans, they've been doing the beaches, they've been doing the grass cuttings, and the town, again, looks fantastic, and I do appreciate it. Again, Mayor, you are correct. The parking enforcement has 4 gentlemen. We all are sworn. We can issue summonses, but we have great discretion relative to what we can do and what we need to do. But we do bring that civility, we bring that visual, and it does need to bring a calming sense and some order to the weekend chaos. And I do appreciate it. And again, I think even with all his years as a public works superintendent, to switch roles and to put him in a tiny little vest with a parking hat, he didn't look that bad, man.
Did you get pictures?
He didn't. Well, he wouldn't let. But I do appreciate it, and I do want to bring up some house cleaning issues. We did issue a resolution to put our code enforcement officer as a parking enforcement officer as well, and I put him in the wrong category of payment. So he is an hourly employee. He is not eligible for the stipend, so we need to kind of correct it relative to either another resolution. How would you want to do that?
Another resolution to correct it.
Could we do that by motion or?
By motion, so he can get paid correctly tomorrow, and then follow up at the next meeting with the resolution.
So he's just going to get paid his hourly rate and whatever.
I'll make that motion.
Is it an hourly rate or an overtime rate?
Well, see, it's hourly rate, but whatever the hourly rate calculates out to. But it's definitely not a stipend and it's not a seasonal rate.
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
I'll second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Neppen?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Carry on, Mr. DeMarco.
And then relative to what we've been doing, HR and myself and Joanne, you'll just look down the resolutions by consent, the separation agreements, there's policy updates, there's appointment of beach patrol. So it's been very busy this time of year, putting employees in place. One of the things that we did, Mayor, is that we put Larry Cole, who was our recreational supervisor, we put him in charge of the beach of Beasley Point and the boat ramp guys. And it goes to the ability to have the boat ramp guys focus on the 53 or 55 different jet skis that were going on, while Larry's kind of overseeing the conga line of boats, and then Josh was doing the parking. And so in unison, it brought some order to that day. They told us Thursday that they might be coming Saturday, and then 53, on top of what we had, showed up. 53 with 53 cars and 53 trailers and 23 spots. You can imagine what it's called. And yes, it's a Part 107 is the FAA, and it is a course, and then once you pass the course, then there's all kinds of certification that you need, and so it is involved. And the equipment is terribly expensive for anything decent. That's all.
Thank you.
Point FAA.
Joanne?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Mr. Monzo?
Mayor, thank you. There are the three resolutions on the consent agenda for the awarding of licenses to AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. The combined annual licensing fee initially is about $110,000 with increases every 5 years of about 15, I think it's 15%, Joanne, correct? 3% a year.
Correct.
And I did circulate an email earlier. The only issue we had at the last meeting was what potential cost there could be with upgrades that are needed. The engineering firm, Colliers, sent that estimate over, and if everybody's okay with that, these resolutions can be adopted. The agreement of sale or the transfer agreement for the cell tower with T-Mobile can be completed, and this all should take effect on July 1st. So, thank you.
Barbara?
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Ryan?
Thank you. Just a couple quick ones for tonight. First one, stormwater pump project in Strathmere. Great news, Atlantic City Electric was out on site and set all 3 meters. So now the final item is pump startup, and we're scheduling that walkthrough next week with the pump manufacturer. So hopefully by the end of next week, all 3 pumps are up and running.
Beautiful.
Next one is the NJDOT project along Route 9. They're implementing a report for Hope Corson Road on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. They're shutting down really that road to install some concrete improvements at the intersection of North Shore Road and Hope Corson Road.
South Shore Road, by the way.
South Shore Road and Hope Corson Road. So they will be detouring traffic through Stagecoach, and that is for tomorrow and Wednesday. The last one up is Coastal Coalition. Gary and I attended last week. Gary's in person, I was online. This is a group of really multiple floodplain communities throughout New Jersey, specifically within Atlantic and Cape May County. And we meet at a monthly basis to discuss common flooding issues and game plan ideas for alleviating the flooding issues. Part of that is a program, Atlantic Cape Multi-Jurisdictional Program for Public Information. That is a part of the Coastal Coalition, but that's 2 meetings a year, and our participation in this program allows us to get credits for FEMA's Community Rating System program, which the higher rating we have leads to reduction of flood insurance rates for the residents of Upper Township. So with all that said, over the next couple of months, we're going to be scheduling a couple outreach meetings as well as sending out outreach flyers as part of our recertification with the Community Rating System. So again, that will be really scheduled towards the end of the summer. And that's all I had.
I just want another engineering thing that we had going on, and I wanted to advise the board that we have to send those letters out about the levy. So about 300 letters are going to go into people's mailbox. This is not the impetus of this board. This is not the will of the board. If I could put Murphy's phone number on the bottom, then I would. But this is something that the state is one of those things that we joke around there about the unfunded mandates. And so those notifications will go out this week. And if we get any feedback, I gave you mine.
There you go. Okay. Barbara? Thank you, Ryan. Joanne?
2 years ago. All consent agenda items listed below are routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. If the mayor or any committee member wishes a particular agenda item to be considered separately, it will be removed from the consent agenda and acted on separately.
Move we approve the consent agenda, items number 1 through 15.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Knapman?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. Under ordinances, we have the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 10, 2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 19 Land Subdivision, Site Plan, and Land Use Administration, and Chapter 20 Zoning of the Code of Upper Township.
Mr. Monzo?
Yeah, Mayor, this ordinance accomplishes two objectives. The first one is to bring the township code in line with municipal land use law, which limits what you can require for performance guarantees to improvements that are either in the public right-of-way, if they're landscape buffering for neighboring properties, that can be bonded, and also there's a requirement or there's a provision for safety and stabilization guarantees to protect safety and welfare. So those three items following the changes to the municipal land use law are contained in this ordinance. The second thing, and it's also in the zoning section, it's at the request or at the recommendation of the Mount Laurel Committee and the Affordable Housing Attorney, a mandatory set-aside has been recommended for inclusion in the township's provision dealing with affordable housing, and that set-aside would be 20% of any residential development that's 5 or more new units. We also added in this that if you have a fractional unit, so if you have 9 units, you can't build 1.8. So you'd build the one, but you'd have to pay into the trust fund the 80% fraction based on the standards that are published by the state. So it helps the township in terms of requiring the set aside and also creating more funding to the extent they're in that fractional share.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions of what's going on with this ordinance? What's the date? Ruby?
July 22nd.
July 22nd?
Move we introduce ordinance number 10 of 2024 with a public hearing and final adoption on July 22nd, 2024.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Knapman?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. 17, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 11, 2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 3 Police Regulations, Chapter 7 Traffic, and Chapter 7A Traffic Schedules of the Code of Upper Township.
Mr. Monzo?
Well, this is a 2-year culmination, and it's a continuing work in progress to update stop signs, loading zones, no parking, speech and trailer parking, 15-minute zones, and so we've been going through the code and implementing it or inserting it for me, and as she does, I go back and check. So this ordinance is going to start to clean up and legitimize the parking. So some of the streets that are listed in the ordinance that clearly have both sides of street parking, Sherman or Randolph, or in the ordinance does not allow any street parking. 15-minute zones on the post office over at Strathmere. That's going to be a companion resolution because that's a county road. The stop signs, all now legitimized. So last year, remember, we took it, that we adopted the ordinance that allowed it to go from 50 to 25 with sight lines, and the loading and unloading zones have now been memorialized. The next ordinance that you'll see is taking code section 8, or is it 3.8, Joanne? It's 3.8 for them, so they will not require mandatory court appearances. But that'll be separate.
That's in this one.
That is in this one as well. So some of the things that we work with the court, and some of these de minimis tickets required, such as having a trailer on the street, required a mandatory court appearance. Now you can pay it by mail without an appearance. So this is kind of
Basically clean up
it's cleaning it up. It's a lot
years and
cleaner.
years and years of.
We can actually write tickets and actually
Actually, write legit tickets.
do a
Yeah.
whole wood.
Very, very good.
My question is, like, what's the impact of parking now? I mean, we've said it a million times, there's already no parking there. Is this going to further restrict parking?
Now, actually, this is increasing parking, because what we did, Deputy Mayor, is that we removed, where there was curves that had 50 feet of stop sign parking, now you can go down to 25 feet. On the other side, where you had 25 feet of sight lines, you can go down to 5 feet. And so, Public Works has been going through, repainting, graying out yellow zones, so this is actually increasing, the parking.
Okay, thank you for that. I couldn't find where to compare it to, because there really didn't seem to be much guidance before this.
Yeah,
Well, what happened is we had that traffic study done about 4 years ago, and we followed their recommendations, but we never did an ordinance to clean up.
To legitimize.
Yes. So that's where we are.
Beautiful. Okay, do we hear
I'd like to make a motion, we introduce ordinance number 11 of 2024 with a final hearing July 22nd.
just call the roll, please?
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes? Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. Under new business, we have the disposal of surplus property.
So on the surface, it seems it's de minimis, and it is, but unfortunately, the ladder rack would be going to Troop 79. So we want to donate the old ladder rack from the 2014 beach truck to Troop 79. But a den father, Rich, is a member of that troop with his sons. And that ladder rack may be seen on the back of Rich's truck. So we just want to make it perfectly clear that it's going to Troop 79. Barbara did some research. We can't seem to find it in our fixed access list. Public Works had said there's relatively any value to the rack itself, so to put it on Gov Deals would be.
It's going to go for scrap
It's
value.
going to go for scrap value anyway.
Which
But
is minimum.
Yes, but again, it's going eventually.
So would it behoove us, Mr. Monzo, to just have a resolution from this board recognizing the fact that we donated it to Troop 79, period, paragraph, so that there's no confusion.
Whatever Troop 79 did with it.
Yeah, that's not that.
I think we need two-part resolution. We have to declare it surplus
Right.
and minimal value, and we're going to donate it.
Same thing, yeah.
So normally when there's a private sale, private transfer of personal property, it requires an ordinance, but in this case, if it has no value, and I'll work with Joanne on this to see if we can just do a resolution, as Mr. Corson said, you have to declare it a surplus and then to authorize the donation of it based on it having minimal value. In fact, maybe it would be more of a deficit to the township to try to sell it, and all the work associated with that and getting any money for it than it is just to donate it and have somebody pick it up.
Somewhat of a shame that we have to go through this, but I think that it's just to protect everybody down the road,
I
so,
think it
especially our
needs
fleet.
to be declared no value to it, and then we can.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, we can do that for next meeting or whatever, so, or we want to do it now.
Now, it'll require at least a resolution, so we can,
What's that?
it would require a resolution, so it would have to be on the agenda next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
And then 19, I'm not sure. We have-
It's a continuation, so one of the recommendations of the public information conference was we talk about public information, to make it public and put it on the agenda. So this kind of memorializes the document that Ryan and I attended at that conference, which was given by Paul. He left the township in a nice position with that particular program. So we were hoping to have Mr. Heist here today, maybe next time.
Okay. Your pleasure on the bills.
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and incorporated as full in the minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes? Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, anybody from the public would like to make a comment? Okay, hearing none. Who's got the Rick Scott?
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. 1, personnel. 2, contract negotiation, Beacon Animal Rescue. 3, contract negotiation, Grace Oil, Roosevelt Boulevard. 4, contract negotiation, New Jersey Turnpike Authority. I also included in my motion the estimated time and circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It's anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Knappen?
Yes.
Mayor Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll take